Found us again. Thanks for watching. Want to thank our sponsors, Micky Finn's, Marlboro, MPD Electric, Carolina Bank, Pepsi of Florence. I think historically the GOP has felt its purpose, and it's honorable. I guess its mission statement is to promote and advocate for policies that help Republicans get elected. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's probably the right strategy to employ. You got a binary choice. In this corner, you got a Republican. In that corner, you got a Democrat. Who do you like? What are their policies? What do they stand for? What do they believe in? I think America First requires an almost inversion. It's got to be. It can't be the policies that help Republicans get elected. It's got to be the policies that advantage the average American. To me, that's what it's about. It's not about policy to help get Republicans elected, because to me, that's putting the party before the people. Why does a political party exist? I mean, does a political party exist to win elections or serve its people, its constituency? And that goes back to the misalignment, the asymmetrical relationship that and the Democrats have had this before. I mean, it's not. I mean, it is. I don't know if it's ever been this intense. I mean, in my lifetime, it's not. But we act like this is the first intense moment in American political history. I mean, we've had a lot of intense. We had duels, by God, back in the day. So we've had a lot of I mean, we had guys, senators stagger out of a lounge and fist fight in the street. The good old days. But I just think, and there's some vagueness there, because you could pin me down and say, well, I mean, Jeff said, what does that mean? You're not answering the question. What does that mean? Well, I'm honest enough to say I don't have all the answers. We're not cooking a cake. But there's not a recipe here. My wife cooks a banana pudding about every Thanksgiving, and she pulls out a little book, and it says exactly this much of that, and exactly. I mean, there is no playbook to this. But if historically the GOP, our party, the majority of our parties, sorry, Jeff, has been, to advance policies that help Republicans win elections, and Drew McKissick will argue, how do you enact change if you don't win elections? That's fair. I mean, that's not a complaint, not a criticism. It's a point to be made. But are the policies followed up on, and do the policies empower the American worker, advance the prosperity of the American family, preserve the American way of life? It's hard to argue that Biden's policies at the border are making life better for the average American. It's hard to argue that some of the anti-police and anti-law enforcement rhetoric of the American political left is making life better for. See, that's the one thing we fail to really understand. And I guess I fan these flames as much as anybody. Democrats don't want somebody hitting them in the head with a board. I mean, Democrats don't enjoy their 401k seeing, 30% decline. Democrats don't. I mean, a Democrat would rather finance their house at 4.5% than they had 7.75%. A Democrat would rather a Ford or Chevrolet pickup cost $40,000 or $45,000 than $75,000 or $80,000. I mean, that's, it's not, wow, the Republicans hate all these things about inflation and government debt and the explosion of spending. But the Democrats are dealing with the same things you deal with. I mean, there's a self-checkout line at Walmart, right? Or at Publix or at Harris Teeter or, Piggly Wiggly, wherever you choose to go. But there's not hey, are you a registered Democrat or Republican? I'm a registered Republican. Okay, you go through this line. That's where the 10% inflation line goes. These Democrats are immune to that. No, Democrats are dealing with the same struggles that Republicans are. Maybe they have a different view on the climate. Maybe they have a little different view on, how much is too much on entitlements or food stamps or some of these means and non-mean tested welfare programs. But to believe that Republicans and Democrats live in these alternate universes when it comes to our daily lives, no. People who work at the government get paid every other week. I mean, there's not a day that Republicans get paid and a day that Democrats get paid. The hourly wage. Well, I mean, there's a Democrat hourly wage and a Republican hourly wage. The majority of these conflicts are based on some internal feelings that the majority of us have about government and what government should do, what it shouldn't do. How do I feel about Ukraine? How do I feel about, globalism? Now, the one thing that the public has done is become unbelievably apathetic. We would rather, I'm going to be candid. You ready? You would rather me read about this stuff and tell you what to think then you had to make your own mind up. I mean, it amazes me. And I've told Rev this. The scariest part of this job is that people give a John Brown what I say. I mean, I'm in the sauna yesterday after my workout at the gym, and a guy who's starting a business in town, he's sitting at the bottom, I'm sitting up top. Somebody asked me a question about something. It was about the speakership. So I said, what's going to happen? Don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You don't know. Nobody knows. I said, well, I don't know. I don't have any idea. I don't think they'll make they'll make a motion to vacate, but I think, he'll be the speaker tomorrow. I was wrong, dead wrong. And the guy turns around and says, I've heard that voice before. You're the guy on the radio. You tell us what to do and how to do it, and I appreciate you a lot. I said, man, I'll tell you my opinion, my perception of the way things are, but it's up to you to grab a computer and go on the Hill or Politico or the Wall Street Journal or, so some of these other sites that do the best they can at engaging and involving. You want a better country, get a more informed electorate. I mean, really and truly, you want a better nation. A nation that really and truly runs, and the government shut down. Here's the argument I'd make, and I made this argument yesterday. If the government were a well-oiled machine, I would be concerned about it shutting down. But the government sucks. The government's a jalopy. I mean, the plug wires are off, the wheels out of balance, the drive shaft's making a big noise. I don't know if we put any oil in it or not. I mean, that's the state of government today. So when government's not running, so what?